did. Well, I'm in Kansas City, Missouri. It's great to meet you. And um, before we peel back the layers of your life as an entrepreneur and a sales and marketing guru, I want to know how you survived the last 3.5 years. How did you survive the pandemic, and how did it change you?
Okay. You want to talk about that now or during the show?
Oh, no, no, no. I come from jazz radio, so I hit the hi hat and dive in.
Okay, cool. Uh, yeah, so the pandemic, well, my business is wrapped around the travel realm. So we took a big hit. We probably lost 40% of our ongoing subscribers, the business owners that use our services. And of course, those that stuck with us, the incentives they were giving out were not being used. They were activating them, and we extended our gave people 24 months to use it instead of 18 months. So we extended that, and people were activating them, but they certainly weren't using them. Nobody was traveling. And so that put a complete, almost standstill to the operation until the middle of 2021, when overnight it kind of started booming back in July of 2021 with what we kind of called revenge travel. People were really into, it boomed, and it's boomed back ever since. Um, the travel incentives that we offer have been very, very popular, great for our members, and the usage on these incentives has gone through the roof. As far as me personally, the pandemic was, interesting. I got sick with COVID as well. It put me out for several weeks. Um, I was one that did not believe in getting the vaccination. So it had me a little worried about that decision during that. But then I got my hands on some ivermectin that everybody said I was crazy to try. My wife had a fit over it, called my doctor, and I got it without a doctor prescription. And within about 24 hours of taking the ivermectin, bam, it was halfway cleared up. Within 3 days, I was back to normal. And she thought we didn't put, she thought I was ready to keel over. I mean, she was having me sign documents and stuff in case I didn't make it.
Yeah.
And yeah, 3 days after the ivermectin, boom, I was fresh and strong. So
Wonderful.
how did it change me? Made me question a lot of and then ever since, question a lot of the narratives of hospitalizations, in putting everybody with breathing tubes. It seemed to be more killing people than not. The whole narrative of the vaccination test was proved to be very interesting. I don't know, what's the real truth there or not, but certainly was worth questioning that nobody was allowed to do. And then, the whole realization of the censorship that we experienced in this country was very eye-opening, and how dramatically we were filtered on what we could see, what we could read, what we could comment on without being banned and scorned and laughed at, and demonetized, or platforms demonetized, and so on. It was amazing. It's like this country, you kind of realized the United States isn't what it used to be after COVID.
Yeah, I agree. So let's get to the heart and soul of what you do for a day, on a daily basis. If I put you in front of a bunch of third grade students, it's career day. One of the kids asks you, "What do you do for a living?" How do you answer that child?
We help create what I call your business super fans, evangelists for your brand, with what we call the wows. So we provide business owners and serve business owners around the globe with what I call the wow, surprise, and delight factor. So we're giving them travel incentives that they can use to enhance whatever their call to action is. If they want people to buy a product, rather than offering a discount, add a travel incentive as part of the value stack. If they're at a trade show, gather a crowd around their booth by giving away travel incentives, complimentary hotel stays. We offer complimentary hotel stays, hotel savings cards, and restaurant savings vouchers. with a subscription plan that allows the business owner an unlimited amount of these that they can use in a myriad of ways to acquire more clients or more leads or build loyalty programs, etc.
So what did you want to be in the third grade? What was your dream to grow up and become?
In the third grade, probably wanted to be an NFL football player, but never grew big enough, tall enough.
I get it. So
Yeah.
how did this journey begin for you? Tell me where you were born and raised, and what were these seeds that have helped you get these people, these clients to grow and to be, to have so many followers and to get what they want?
I grew up in Puerto Rico. My father and mother, my dad was transferred to Puerto Rico because he was bilingual, Mexican descendants, and he was transferred to run a big corporation in Puerto Rico. So I had the opportunity to grow up Puerto Rico, go to high school in Puerto Rico. Um, Opened up when I got out of high school. I went to about a year of college and it wasn't for me. Dropped out of college and said, I want to open a business. Convinced my brother and mom to open Mexican restaurants since that was her forte. My mom could cook unbelievable. So, well, long story short, we opened 5 restaurants in 5 years. Then I opened a nightclub by the time I was 23, and went on to have a number of successes there in the business world. We sold the businesses to Taco Bell when they wanted into the island, and we had the lockdown on all the mall food courts. So we got out at the right time with Taco Bell, and I went on to run other corporate restaurants and hotels, and eventually I got into sales because I wanted to have an unlimited income, and found that being a manager or running somebody else's business after we sold ours was limiting. So I got into sales, and then I fell into internet marketing. Didn't know anything about marketing, didn't study marketing, but I've always been a hands-on learner, study, learn wherever I got to find the information. I've always been a student of training myself on what I want to do next. So I learned the internet started learning the internet in 1994. By 1996, I had a bunch of servers in my garage and was a spammer before they called it spam. I was mass emailing, and with that knowledge, building websites, learning HTML coding and stuff like that. And by the time year 2000 came around, I sold myself into a quasi corporate role and business owner of the company that I was taking over their internet marketing. At the time, it was still a new idea on how to succeed on the internet. I had what I proved to be a successful way to do it. And for this company that I went to work for, we generated between 2000 and 2008. I got it to the point where we were doing $200 million a year in online sales. In my career so far, I've done over $1 billion in online transactions. And so that's where and then I got into the travel space, which was what I was doing during those years on the internet. I was mostly selling travel. And after 2008, I lost everything, and it's another whole story. But I had to reinvent myself again in 2010. We started my own travel business with some business partners that I had relationships with, and by accident, we ended up coming up with an idea that's become marketingboost.com today.
So who's been a hero for you in your life? Who have you admired and looked up to?
One of my first heroes was Zig Ziglar in the very early days of my sales career. As a very young man, my father turned me on to reading the Zig Ziglar series, and How to Win Friends and Influence People. So my dad was one of my early heroes, actually. By not handing me handouts, he taught me some very good lessons on work ethics. And for example, by age 12, I was featured on the front page of the newspaper for building the biggest paper route they'd ever seen when I started at 9. And that was because my dad wouldn't give me the money to buy a Schwinn bike. He said, if you want to wait till Christmas or your birthday, you might get lucky, or you can go earn the money and buy your own. And here's how you can do it. He suggested I get a paper route. He had to teach me how to do spreadsheets back then. There was no internet, so I had to sell the subscription, go back and collect the money for the subscription, deliver the papers every morning at 6 a.m. I had to keep a manual spreadsheets. Back then, there were these huge green papers. We had to manually fill in all the little boxes of who still owed me what to go back and collect the money. And it was a real, it was a real business actually. You had to, not just pay for the papers and they would pay today everybody online, you pay directly your newspaper subscription. Back then I had to go back and collect the money. So my dad was one of those early guys that really influenced my life. My older brother, another big hero in my life. And then what else can I say? Books. Books have been good for me. My only books I've ever read have always been self-help books of one kind or another.
So if you can meet anybody alive on the planet right now, whether it's an entrepreneur or somebody else, who would you love to meet and talk to?
Right now, and I am not necessarily saying here that I am a Trumper or what have you, but I would love to meet the man. And I've met other multi-millionaires and did business with a guy named David Siegel, for example. He's like the Donald Trump of the south of Florida, for example. But Donald Trump, what amazes me about him is I've never seen anybody in my entire life be attacked on every side, from every angle, from every which way, and still keep standing up and still keep on fighting at his age. I just can't imagine how he does that. So win or lose, or like him or hate him, what I find about him that blows me away is somebody who can be knocked down, get up, and never show that he's sweating, never show that he's under attack, and fight back. It's just kind of headed to him. He amazes me with that. So that's one guy.
Let me ask you this. Everyone has a motivation out there. Everyone has something that gets them out of bed and gets them to be who they are. What is that for you? What gets you to achieve what you want to get done and be who you are every day?
Well, like I was mentioned earlier about Zig Ziglar, he influenced me on, if I can help enough other people get what they want in life, I'll get what I want. That's been a mantra of my life since early on. And with the business of Marketing Boost that I operate today, it has really allowed me to do that, because I've built a community of, my Facebook group has over 30,000 entrepreneurs in it. And we have the opportunity to kind of reach back down the ladder and help others with whatever their business goals are. And we're not the sole solution. We're not the magic bullet, but we provide, one thing, we provide our travel incentives, but the other is we're providing as much training and content. And I have my own podcast show as well, Joe, where I'm interviewing business experts of all kinds, and providing the idea behind our podcast is, how can we help our community of entrepreneurs? How can I reach back? How can I help others? And that's what motivates me every day. How do I help others have some successes, small or large, along the way? And as I help them get those small successes, and as those add up, I get a real kick out of seeing people start to, see successes in their life and in their business. And sometimes some of them say thank you, and that means a lot.
So speaking of thank you, what's been one of your favorite client success stories?
I've got a number of them on my website, but one that comes to mind, for example, he's generated over $1 million in additional revenue. He did that in 1 year, actually, and he continues to do this. And he's a windshield repair and replace windshield company. And in his market, they give you an idea. They're very competitive, and most of the insurance companies pay for the windshield. So they have this process in their competing industry where they offer cash rebates for people to select their windshield company over somebody else's. So that obviously was an expensive way to generate a new client. And so he found Marketing Boost and trained his installers on how to, when they got out to, and they'd continue to offer the cash rebate, but when they got to the home and replaced the windshield, the staff was trained on saying, hey, I can replace, I can give you this $150 cash rebate, or I can give you 5 nights in Cancun on us instead. So if I keep your trade your 150 cash for 5 nights in Cancun, you're getting a AAA 4 diamond resort in Cancun. And anyway, bottom line was they were able to keep, instead of handing checks to people for $150, they were able to keep that cash in house to the tune of over $1 million in 1 year of additional bottom line profits by not handing out those checks to people and instead handing them one of our travel incentives. And that's become a staple of their business model to this day. That's just one. I had another guy that made about $500,000 in 4 days. And I've had, many others that are, their businesses have grown. They've built huge Facebook groups using the incentives virally for contests and what have you. So I've had a lot of fun helping business owners succeed.
So let's say you have a dream tonight. You run into a 20-year-old version of you, and you could give that young version of you a piece of advice. What advice would you give based on the wisdom you've gained throughout your life so far?
Well, to try to avoid the 2008 disaster by diversifying investments better, so I would tell my 20-year-old self, because by the time I was in my mid 40s and thought that my wealth was measured by living in the nice house down the street from Tiger Woods, 7 cars in the driveway, the boat, the motorcycle, the kids in the nice schools, and it was with everything stretched out on credit. Living, I was making a lot of money, but I was spending as much as I was, a lot of close to what I was making. And that's the habit I would tell my younger self. You don't need to show off. You don't need to keep up with the Joneses next door. You don't need to, worry about the lifestyle, dining out all the time. Put the money away, invest it, live small, save large, until there's more money than you know what to do with. Then you can go and live the big lifestyle if you want. But by then you don't even care.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for sure. So what's the best advice you've ever gotten?
Best advice I've ever gotten was, I have to think about that one. You might want to move on to the next question.
Okay. So of all the things that you've done and overcome in your life, what are you the proudest of?
I guess I'd say my kids, that they've turned out to be pretty cool people, people that others like to be around. Now they've got grandkids coming, and one already here and one on the way, and I would say they're the ones that warm my heart, and take me there, hopefully give me a whole lot more years to enjoy grandkids now.
So everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, colleagues, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I think I'm a pretty cool guy. I like to have a good time. Relationships mean a lot to me, so I enjoy building, having friends and what have you. I like the balance between hard work and play. I'm also known as Captain Marco. I spend a lot of time on my boat. I like to be out either sailing or motorboating, and love to be traveling and enjoying cultures. And right now, I really enjoy. I just got back from a 2-month trip through Mexico and Colombia, Medellin, and Mexico City, and now I'm back in Florida for a while, and planning my next trip will be several weeks on the boat in the Bahamas. So when you ask how do I feel about myself? I think my goal is to teach others to hopefully end up in the same situation where they can afford to get their business rolling in such a way that they can step back from the business, not be needed in the business, so that they can enjoy the fruits of their business rather than being stuck working for their business.
So of being somebody that's traveled a lot, what's been one of the most surprisingly beautiful, wonderful, magical places you've ever visited?
The Philippines still sticks top of my mind. I've spent almost 8 months in the Philippines, based in Manila. I was there to open one of our train and develop one of our call centers that we have in the Philippines, but I never expected it to be such a wonderful experience. And that trip, planned for a few weeks, turned into 8 months, traveling and getting to know many of the islands. There's over like 11,000 islands combined in all of the Philippines. The people are beautiful. The culture is very Americanized, and yet their own. So it had a familiar feel, which made it easy to be a visitor and tourist there. Most everybody speaks English. Um, Great food, great people. They are wonderful, surprisingly wonderful people, which is why they make such great customer service, virtual assistants and stuff like that as well. But I really, really enjoyed the Philippines. And one day, if it wasn't 24 hours of flights to get there, I'd go back more often.
So, Marco, if anyone out there wants to hire you, learn more about you, anything about your world, where's the best place to go?
Marketingboostsolutions.com. That's where I'd invite people to go. Right there, you can, from there, there's multiple products and services that we offer to teach, to guide business owners how to boost and scale their business. Marketingboostsolutions.com. You can join our Facebook group for free. We have over 30,000 entrepreneurs there. And you can sign up for Marketing Boost with no credit card required and get a free version, a freemium version of what we offer on Marketing Boost without even a credit card. To check it out, give yourself one of our incentives and try one out.
Wonderful. Marco, thank you so much for your story, man. I appreciate it. Appreciate the energy and the passion. Best of luck with everything.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
having me.